But we are just going to start with some simple ingredients here. I have most of this stuff laid out here so you can just see how simple everything is. Nothing fancy schmancy, we're just gonna throw this together. So what I'm gonna start doing, and this is what I recommend sometimes when you are assembling a recipe, is look for the vegetables or the things that needs to be chopped, because that is a little bit time consuming. It depends how fast you are, but I know when I was first starting to chop vegetables, it took a lot of time for me. Fortunately, I have my handy dandy assistant here, and in addition to chopping up our vegetables, she's gonna teach you a couple basic knife skills. What we're gonna start off with is, the recipe calls for 1 small onion, 1 green pepper, and a clove of garlic. So Abby's gonna show you a quick and easy way to cut an onion so you're not hovering over an onion and getting all that, you know, the fumes in your face and then tearing. Abby has really good form. She's got her body straight, her arms are close to her core, and she's keeping her fingers also close too to her body. The way that the blade is cutting through the onion is really important. So she's not slicing and pulling that blade towards her body. She's actually pushing ever so slightly the blade away from her body. She's also using the back of the knife kind of by the base, because that's ultra sharp, but it gives you better control. So while she's chopping, I've got Anne over here. She's just helping to mash the beans. I need to measure out 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, because sometimes if you let this pot get really, really hot, it can just scald the oil pretty much.
So I'm just gonna chop off the top like I did with the onions. And then we have the seed inside of here. So you could just cut around it. Which you want to be careful with this too, to make sure you don't cut yourself. And then just pull out the extra pieces. And then if you don't feel comfortable with this, you can also cut it into quarters, and you could take off the seeds by yourself, or whichever way that you feel comfortable with doing it. And we can cut little strips if you guys are gonna cut dice, just bite-sized pieces.
So we're gonna measure out some chili powder. We are gonna measure out some cumin right here, and then dried oregano. Here it is. This is a tablespoon. This is a teaspoon. Okay, notice the difference in the size. One of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're cooking is they confuse the two if you're not looking carefully enough on the recipe. Especially with spices, I've done that before, but I haven't paid enough attention and I've used a tablespoon when I was supposed to use a teaspoon, and you get a really, really strong product. So with rice, when you're cooking rice, it's pretty much a 1-to-1 ratio with water and the starch. All right, so there's almost 2 cups of water in here, and then there's about 2 cups of rice. We're gonna cook the onion and the garlic together. So when we cook that garlic, it's gonna get very fragrant and aromatic, and that's how you know it's cooking. But we don't want this to cook for too long, otherwise we're gonna end up with burnt garlic. And I don't want that. I don't wanna ruin our chili that we're working so hard for. So Abby, when you are ready, can you just throw in all the onion and the garlic? And then I'm gonna add the green pepper too, because we want this to get all nice and soft here. Now we're just gonna add some corn. Abby's gonna add the corn straight into the pot. So our rice is done. Can you guys see in the mirror? Rice is done. I'm just gonna fluff it with a fork. Does anybody know why I chose brown rice instead of white rice? You can use both, but I chose one in particular. Anybody know why? So actually brown rice has a protective hull on it. So when you think of a wheat bran, it's got like a little shell to it, and that little shell harbors phytochemicals, B vitamins, and fiber, okay? Now, in the refining process, that's stripped away, and all you're left with is the white, okay? So from a nutrient profile stance, we wanna choose brown and whole wheat and whole grain products just because it packs more nutrients. Now I think what we're ready to do is just put everything together. So we're gonna add all the beans, including these guys here. We are going to add in our seasonings that our previous volunteer, Anne, so generously measured out here for us. So we'll do that. Abby's gonna give everything a stir, and so what we wanna do is we wanna bring this to a boil, all right? And it says simmer for 30 minutes. Last few minutes this is cooking. We're gonna dish up the rice. We're gonna give you a scoop of this chili, and we're gonna garnish it with some avocado and some cheese. I love avocado. Anybody know what avocado is really good for, nutrient-wise? Good job, fat. Yeah, so we have to get essential fats in our diet, and avocado is great for that. It has the consistency of butter. The buttery mouthfeel is because of all the fat. So avocado is really good for us. Fiber helps keep us feeling fuller longer throughout the day. So I always tell people, think of all the F's. Fiber is your friend. It helps keep you feeling fuller longer throughout the day. So one of the things I love about this is you got plenty of fiber from the beans, you got plenty of fiber from the brown rice. We have vegetables in here too. So we have the corn, we have the pepper, we have the onion. So we have lots of fiber in here, which is great.